Hey everybody. So we've all been there, right? You're working on a really complex feature and the AI just gets deep in a hole and you can't get out, right? You hit an error or you don't get the functionality that you want. You paste in the logs and you give it feedback and it just doesn't get it, right? It thinks it claims to get it, but it just doesn't work as you want. And basically, I recently ran into that with my complicated data table here. So what I'm trying to do is build this data table that works like Google Sheets, but also like ClickUp as well. So it does things like grouping, with drag and drop. And what I want to do is have a robust persistence feature, which means that interesting. Always finding bugs. So basically what I wanted to do is I want it to be able to remember the settings that it has when I refresh. And as you can see there, it doesn't quite work how I want it. But what I did manage to get is the toggle here at the sorting. Okay, so I was having a hard time with the sorting remaining persistent. So the live test here shows that, does it work? Look at that, it does work. So I have the descending date here updated at, and it's working, okay? And so what I did was, I was going down that AI hole, or getting in that, hitting that wall, right? Where I was, trying to feed it the docs, telling it to research all the docs. It had all the docs, it had all the right features, the right patterns and everything, and it all looked good. But what happened was it was actually adding a ton of complexity, and I kind of knew that this was the problem. Right? It ran into a ton of complexity and it was just getting stuck. It basically was just adding more and more and more complexity. So a lot of times with the AI is that it just goes into a dead end. And instead of, taking a step back and seeing the bigger picture, it will just, keep drilling in, adding more checks, adding more debouncing, adding more things that is just, Band-Aid code, or all these different complex things that doesn't actually get you what you want. And even if it does achieve what you're looking for, it ends up adding a ton of complexity, spaghetti code, whatever. So one of the things that you can do is basically when you're trying to work on something, right, is to take a step back. Take a step back with it with the LLM and tell it to implement the feature that you're looking to do with the library that you're looking to do it with in a totally isolated state, right? And so I have this section in my code, in my app, that's called debug. That's the debug section. And this is only visible to admins of my system. So it's not visible to normal users, right? And basically these are pages with components inside that test certain functionality or allow us to debug certain functionality, right? And basically I had to create this page called Legend State Local Storage Sync Debug, okay? And Legend State is the state management system that I use, and it has built-in persistence. That's one of the things I really like about Legend State, is that it has built-in sync and persistence that you can use, which are really important for complex apps, right? I see. Okay, as I'm talking to you guys, I'm seeing that the AI is doing one of its things. It's starting to create a totally different file. Okay, we'll go back to that later. Let's talk about this. So Legend State has a local storage persistence. It's called an observable. An observable just holds data that allows other components or other areas of your code to observe that data, right? And so basically it created some different methods. It did this all itself. I didn't instruct it to do this. I just told it to create something to display and to debug this functionality. So what you can see is these are all stores that have, update buttons here. And then you can inspect the local storage. So here you can see each of these components, these different methods are showing different types of storage, right? And so it can do pretty much everything you need to store stuff like user preferences or different sort state for a table and all those things that I'm looking to do, in this part of my data table. So here you can see it's got a Vibe complex storage. That's what this is. So this is a nested structure. So you can see the username, the preferences, and the settings, and the various things, and you can update it, and then the settings change. Sorry, they don't change live, you gotta hit it again. So you can see the settings change. Here, this count is increasing, counter 5, so this is the method 2. And then here's this test the simple store up here, so it's this one. And they're all updating. This has some different things. This has some sort of a schema version, a schema hash. Oh, this is actually really a real part of our app. Sorry, this is a real part of our app that's used in loading the schema version and the DB version, which is cool. I can go over that another time. So this is just the entire state of the local storage. That's where you can see the WebSocket client ID. So here you can see our WebSocket sync system is also persisted here, also using legend state. So anyway, I wanted to do this because now basically what I did was I pointed Claude to this and said, okay, now look at our persistent state, persistent setup in the Vibe component, and tell me, where have we gone wrong? And then when it does that, instantly it's like, oh yeah, this is way too complicated. If you do this simple solution we have in the debug route, it will work way better. And so that's basically, that helped me solve the problem. As you can just see, I made it work. Now we're trying to migrate, and let's see. The migration processes are always like a challenge. So here I'm just working on this. So basically, as I was telling you guys about sort of the escapades of Claude Code, it did something which I hate when it does, which it hits a wall in complexity and then it gives up and tries to write something new. So basically, I told it to go back, bring back the old file, and fix it properly. Usually, I can catch that, but anyway. So these are just some of the things that you have to look out for, and one of the ways to avoid getting stuck in a complexity loop is to simplify things and then use that as a pattern for the LLM to learn from. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. As you can see, I'm coding here, I'm learning here as we go, and I'm just going to keep posting more my progress and hopefully get all these bugs figured out for the Vibe Grid data grid, and you can see my progress, and we can just keep learning together. All right, catch you guys later. Subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. Bye-bye.